Hello, hello, welcome to a new show, to a new episode. Welcome to the show brought to you by topfcradio.com. And of course, you can also watch us on Top Football Club on YouTube. We are live again on YouTube and on the website. You can also listen to these shows on demand, either on the website topfcradio.com or on all your favorite listening platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Again, topfcradio.com. What's up, man? What's happening?
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Doing good?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Doing good. Yeah. There's games going on. The preseason started in the Premier League. Apparently, Arsenal drew a game. I didn't watch it, but we're getting there. It's getting close.
Well,
30
I think
days.
what happened with Manchester United? They played too.
They played Leeds a couple days ago. I think it was
Yeah,
all kids. They didn't, nothing too much, nothing to worry about. Not yet, but with
right.
with United, it's always crisis. They don't have enough players. They don't have a striker. They don't have this. They can't sell Maguire. Ba, 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 ba. They're one transfer away from everything being fine, and they're going to win the title.
They're struggling for sure, man. But
Yeah.
well, I saw Maguire's working out in Portugal, so hey, he's getting ready. I mean, you never know, man. He might be the next uh best center back next season.
You know what? I've always defended him. Yes, he
Well,
turned
you're a
into a battle.
you're a City fan, so
No,
of course you're
because
gonna defend.
no, because I remember him at Leicester, and I remember when he and Robertson were in Hull, and they went down, and they both moved on, and Robertson became the best left back in the league, and 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 Maguire did really well at Leicester, and City were going to buy Harry Maguire, and then and then they came, and then United came in, and he had a good first year or two. Then I think that fight, what happened to him on his holidays, it kind of things went wrong, and then it kind of just snowballed. And then I don't think De Gea particularly helped him. All the turmoil at United didn't help him. They made him the captain and never stripped him, which was bizarre. He just was a bad player who was the captain. I never understood that. But anyway,
Yeah.
he's no John Stones.
Nope. All
How
right,
about you?
so we got this we got Dele Alli,
Oh,
man. And it's a
yeah,
pretty
dark.
tough subject, and
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, but
I
we're
mean,
here for it. I mean, we did the
people
we did the we did the Barbara Banda thing yesterday,
which
and
actually had a lot of
yeah,
interaction, man. A lot of people hate us. A lot of people don't.
no, but
A lot of people thought it was a dumb subject to talk about because she was a woman.
well, I mean, I think it's interesting. It's a little bit more depth and nuanced, and something that you have to kind of think about a little bit. Yes, it was very clear and straightforward, but what I think people didn't quite get was that we were saying, "Hey, this is happening. This happened in the past. What does this mean going forward? Not for this particular story, but how does it affect things down the road?" So I thought that was interesting. I thought, listen, if we just do what everyone else does, you can just
Then
watch it
we're no
tomorrow.
good.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
and and
there's no
but
rush to it.
it's one of the videos that has the most interaction. So obviously, people wanted to
Yeah,
that were
that's
interested.
okay. That's
And
okay.
now Dele Alli, a terrific player, only 27 years old,
Mm.
still has a lot of future. I believe about
Hmm.
5 years now. Players are playing, longer years. He
Hmm.
seems in good shape. It just looks. I mean, it's just looks. Obviously, you don't know what his shape is, and of course, Everton is behind him. We don't know. He in the interview he didn't. He said it. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but Everton had my back the whole time, and so we don't know if he's going to stay there. Now, I would suspect that. Yes, I mean, I would expect that they would consider him for another season. Um,
Yeah, I think he's got 2 more years left on his deal. So just to sort of do the setup, we had Gary Neville, who's probably the, let's call it what he is. He's the Charles Barkley, or maybe yeah, he's kind of like the Charles Barkley of England, in that he's the honest pundit who can say what he wants, and he's really clear and he's outspoken. Although you could sort of argue that between that Monday Night Football on Sky and the TNT show, those are probably the two best sports shows there are. But Neville
Yeah.
has been expanding with his show, The Overlap. I recommend everyone watch it. It's all on YouTube. Lots of great interviews. The one with Vincent Company was really good. Things with Paul shows. He gets people to talk about real things. I found out something about Paul Scholes that, he has a son who's autistic, and it was really hard. And so in this case, we get more of that hard hitting opening thing where Dele Alli's like, hey, I didn't just fall off the planet in my form because I didn't care. I literally was having what amounts to an addiction and a breakdown due to an what sounded like a horrific childhood of no parenting, mom's drunk, dad's not around, abuse, men in and out of the house, you know, pedophilia. It sounds like, getting abused. What does that mean? That's a man with a little boy, getting selling drugs, all sorts of terrible things that he was able to overcome through the kindness of an adoptive family, but would eventually caught up to him because he had no method for knowing what was right. And he kind of partied and got it hooked on sleeping pills, which was weird because I was like, he's taking sleeping. I wanted to know exactly which pills they are. Because listen, I'm not above having taken drugs in my youth. I'm like, which ones? Because,
Well,
I want to know which
actually,
one it is.
I think I saw somewhere what they were called. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I don't remember them, but actually I've seen it somewhere, so maybe I can find out.
Like, is he
But
hanging out taking Xanax and going to work? Is he
no, it
taking
wasn't.
Klonopin? Is he
It
taking,
wasn't that. It wasn't that.
Ambien
It
and he
was.
doesn't remember the whole day? Like, what is he doing? Because that stuff's not addicting in a good way. Was it opioids? Like, I
Well,
want to know what it was.
I think what the point of it was that he just wanted to. There was no high behind it. He just wanted
Yeah.
it to kind of like Michael Jackson. I mean, you
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
Just wanted to sleep
Yeah.
and sleep his life away, and he surely
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So,
and
sad story, but emotional. Like Gary Neville, I don't think knew it was coming. They had a moment together. It was kind of intense. You can
well,
watch, like I said, on YouTube. But it is a great. I don't know if it's a great story. It's an
it's known
enlightening
that
story. It's a sad story, but
it
also
was known that he had problems with drugs. I mean, it was known. N- People that didn't know what it was. Obviously, he went to rehab. Everton knew about it, and there were talks about it. It was no secret when he came out. But what was more astonishing was the other personal, more private stuff that
mm,
he revealed that he was sexually abused when he was 6 by a friend of his mom, and then he got emotional, of course.
sounded like there was a lot of guys in and out of that house. So
Yeah,
maybe mom was turning.
so what we think that these guys have a lot of money, they have the best cars, they have the best women, they have the best clothes, but at the same time, and you see it over and over, this is a big ongoing issue of these players that they can't cope. They grow up poor, and all of a sudden they have a ton of money. They're millionaires overnight, and I imagine that you have the scrutiny of the media. You're in the eyes of millions. So, and Dele Alli for a while was the number one promising star for England, let
Yeah, he
alone
was in the
Tottenham.
2018
Or
World Cup.
so, and what's surprising is that he's only 27 years old. I'm older than him by 2 years, or 1 year actually. Well,
I'm
two and
much
a half.
older than him.
Well, I'm saying like, it's incredible because it feels like I
Yeah.
haven't seen him play in 10 years, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, his last regular season that he played was 1920. He played 1,800 minutes, scored 8 goals and four. But essentially, since then, since basically Pochettino left, he hasn't played more than 15 games in the league. And so he's really vanished. Last year he was at Besiktas, but has only scored 2 goals and had 1 assist in the last 5 years. So this is really a player who's had a level of promise that was right there with. He was right there with Son and right there with Kane and right there with Ericsson and Dyer and all those guys. And I think we can track some of Spurs's not slipping, but he was supposed to be part of that group. And I think his falling back and the way that Levy ran the team really is part of the story of Spurs having a hard time. because they put a lot of investment in him. He was being relied upon, and he really, as much as I have empathy for him, the individual, when you think about it from a Spurs fan perspective, he let the team down, and I think he knows that. I think that's ultimately known. He let the
Yeah.
team down. He let his career down, and Spurs fans can be empathetic and upset at the same time. I think. I think that's a reasonable feeling to have. Hey, you were supposed to be our guy. It's that kind of
Yeah.
lamenting story of like you see a friend collapse, and at the same time you're like, yo, you have kids, you're married. Like, I know it's sad, but we need you. We need you to come back. And granted, he's not gone. He has turned himself around. So he, he lost 4 years, basically 3 years of his career
Yeah.
right there. 26, 24, 25, 26. He's lost 3 years of his career, and now he has a chance to get it back. But it's
Well,
sad. It's a good
it'll
story.
be
It's
it'll
interesting.
be. I don't know if he'll ever be that top player that he was, but I
No,
think
no, no.
he can
He's gonna
help
score
a
50
Premier League
goals a
team.
year. Yeah, I think if you think about Everton and what they have, right? They have
Well,
that
I
pairing.
mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't even think that they're.
Oh no, they're
You
not
know,
counting on him. No.
no, no. But what I'm saying is, no. Actually, I do believe that they could back him up. The reason why Everton comes from a horrific season, uh, fighting
Tough season.
relegation. So you're going to tell me that he
Yeah.
can't help you? I think he could.
Of course he can.
So you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So I don't think Everton is in the position to
I,
just
to
let
look a
go.
gift horse in the mouth and be like, "Can we get this guy back and put him in?" Yeah. So
Yeah,
he is injured. We know that. So he
yeah.
has to come back from that. But I think the big thing, if you look at it from a fifth football perspective, it sounds like he needs the right manager to sort of put him back on side. And I hope he did mention the manager, but he didn't say Sean Dyche, right? I hope that Dyche lets him do the things he needs to do so that he can play football. Because at his best, Dele Alli represented English football at its finest in that working class, box to box, running, standing up for teammates, getting stuck in, rainy day at Stoke. He was very much an English football player, which
Yeah.
I think Everton as a fan base really enjoys and will get behind him. I do fear for him in you go to some hostile ground, Leeds isn't in the league, but who is a hostile ground? You go to like the Aston Villa in the Holt End, and they start saying some
Liverpool.
really, yeah, but I don't want to attack the Scousers. I was trying to be Scouse free today, but uh,
But
but yeah, let's say
yeah, a tough crowd.
yeah, the Anfield end, the cop end, you're going towards it. He's just going to hear some things that are dark, and the English are not going to give him a pass, even if it's only 10%. That's a lot, of people who could say really, really awful stuff, and we'll see what happens with Dele
Well,
Alli.
he's gonna have to have tough skin, of course.
I
But I
think he
think
already
that
does, but I mean, to
yeah,
get
yeah,
where
yeah.
he got, he's definitely has tough skin. But now he's going to have to do it again in a new
And
way.
and and the thing is that he's still 27, so he still has a future. Like I said earlier, about 5 years. He beat uh, 32, actually more.
Hmm.
In 7 years, almost a
He's got
decade, man. You still have a lot to go on, and in
he's
the
got a lot
Premier
of
League,
mileage.
I
He
believe.
started very young, so he was a regular at MK Dons in League One at 17. So
And yeah,
he's got a lot of mileage, but these last 4 seasons, he's just barely played.
no, that is true. I mean, but he was dealing with that addiction, dealing with his demons, demons that they were his, but they were actually created by evil people. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Agreed.
Because you can't say, um, you know, when people
No,
say he had
children are innocent. He didn't
exact,
deserve. Nobody deserves that.
and just he could have been a plumber and still dealt with that, probably be dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Because
sure, for sure.
he's got resources rather, that most people wouldn't have, and more than
Hmm.
likely, you know, vanish. That's just bottom line. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
He
he's fortunate.
disappear into the hole of doom.
He also he admitted to struggle with addiction. His mom was an alcoholic. Um,
Yep. Yep.
and molested by the age of 6. I mean, I'm just looking at the quotes here.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really bad.
you
It's
know,
really bad, and it's worth a watch. I would recommend people
and
watch it
then
on YouTube.
he says he was sent to Africa to learn discipline and then was sent back. Like it's just
Yeah,
the
that's a weird.
idea, the
That's a weird one.
mentality, the mentality is just whack, man.
But then on the other side of it, there's I think let's sort of try and wrap it up with something super positive. It's just like the fact that he made it to the Premier League and was a two-time Young Player of the Year and part of a Spurs team that was pushing for the title. Had Daniel Levy just backed up his manager, they could have really been right there. They had an 87-point season. That's more than Arsenal had last year, and they were the greatest Arsenal team in 30 years. Let's just put that into context, right? 86
Right.
points in a season is huge. I think it was 17, 18. And he was there. So we know he can overcome. We know he can work. The guy had a 20 goal season from in the midfield, which is incredible. And then, that's in him. It's not gone. When we have a player who's shown in the toughest league in the world that he can be an impact player, we know it's in here. I think we're all pulling for him. And at this point, he's taken the torch and said to people who are having a hard time, "Follow me. I will be the light. I will take the pain. I will take the arrows so that you can feel safe and come out from behind me and get the help that you need or play you need or whatever you need. I will be a beacon that you can walk in my shadow because I took the slings and arrows to go forward." So it's a great story. And hopefully he does play again and he does get the cheers one more time. We all deserve a second chance. We all deserve to have that moment in the sun one more time. And hopefully it'll be
Yep.
at Everton's new stadium one day.
Yep. That was a shot. No, but well, let's move on. Hopefully, he finds peace, and that's more important than anything.
Yeah.
Really, he's got money, so Now, on the other side, West Ham United fans are fuming at Arsenal over Declan Rice. They want their
Yeah.
money. This is
Yeah.
not. This is not. Well, they're gonna have payments, of course. They
Yeah.
actually Arsenal wanted to pay him in 5 years, but that's what West
Yeah.
Ham wanted.
I think that's
And
a normal process. When
yeah,
when deals are signed, usually the
I,
transfer fee is spread out
but
over the course of the
no,
contract.
that's true. But it should have been done already. It's the
Yes.
Arsenal lawyers are still holding this,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the heck is the problem. I mean,
Well, I
I
think
don't.
what you've got is like you have to remember, right? Arsenal's owned by American multinational company, right? They're part owners of Walmart, or Kroenke's married into the Walmart fortune, and then he was in real estate before that, but he eventually is part of the Walmart folks. And so that's an American style, right? Is to be very litigation heavy and make sure that you check every contract line and you make sure that nothing is undone. And I think that's probably what's holding it up at this point. And you have to remember who are West Ham's owners, guys who made their money selling freaking porn. So they're probably less about writing really tight contracts and more into tight something else's. But
That's
so
crazy.
you have Sullivan and Gold on one side, and you have the Cronkies on the other. I mean, granted, obviously there's directors of football and lawyers and all that stuff, but in football, the clubs take on the persona of their owner. You got Silent Stan, and you've got the Golds
Well,
on the other side,
the main reason is that West Ham wants to buy players
yeah,
also, and
they're
and of
worried.
course
Yeah,
they're a more limited club, and they want to
the thing is though is like when you have David Moyes, do you really want to buy players, or does he just want to run the same 11 guys out there? Because there's still like all the guys they bought from the last time that they didn't even use, right? Like I think about Scaramucci, and
now
it's just like,
they've
well, I
been
could play. I'm pretty good.
they've been wanting to get Harvey Barnes from
I know.
Newcastle
Yeah.
and
Leicester, you mean?
Leicester. I'm sorry, and
He's got it. He's good.
if they don't have it,
He's really
they
good.
might miss out on them.
Because I
So
can see the thing is like having Barnes and Bowen together, right? Those two really like direct attacking wingers is so good for that counterattack that they need. But if I'm West Ham though, I think the really big issue is like how do you replace Rice? Who's gonna be that six that defends in front of your back four, who breaks up everything and is involved in everything? It's definitely not Socek, who's gotten worse and worse since his
well,
first season.
there's somebody Joao. Paulinho or
Oh,
something like that.
he's good.
Yeah, yeah, and he's a midfielder, so they might uh, plug him
But
right there.
there's no way if Fulham gets rid of them, they might as well say we're getting relegated. That's how good
Well, I
Paulinho was.
mean, Fulham just yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
you can't. The thing, like, I can't even tell you how good Paulinho was. Like, I watched all a
yeah,
lot of Fulham. He was the like this side of Caicedo or Rodri. He's literally that good of a midfielder. Like, just broke up everything, led the league in tackles and interceptions and yellow cards. So just kicking
yeah,
ass and taking names. Very West Ham, but he's a little bit older. He's 28 and big. He's basically he's kind of like a Gareth Barry kind of destroyer, Nigel De Jong type in that mold of central midfielder who just destroys everything and gets the game moving. But he's an incredible player. And if they got him to replace Rice, I would be like, West Ham's fine. But then I'd be like,
yeah.
Fulham are going down.
And just Rice's training in Portugal as well. You know, Maguire. We said I don't know why they're going to Portugal. What's up there?
One
But
in a
you
slum,
know,
man. It's cheap.
they're he's yeah. Well, they're waiting for the conclusion of this deal. All right, so we talked about
Mm-hmm.
Rice. Let's see what else. Do we have to talk about Kane, man? It's so dragging. And hey, Henderson. Oh my
Yes,
goodness! Now
Jordan
that's
Henderson.
a.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
we
That's a
blame?
that's a big one. I think
That's a
for
big deal, man.
yeah.
For a lot of people,
So
actually,
yeah.
not just
I think
simply because the people are saying, "Well, you're captain of Liverpool. You're still winning a spot in England. Why are you leaving?" You know, and then Gerard, they're pissed off at Gerard, and also Henderson has been a big advocate of LGBT plus the community. So you're going to Qatar, where I mean, not Qatar, Saudi Arabia, where it's illegal. So a lot of a lot of
you know what?
hate or angry fans.
Jordan Henderson can say. For first of all, I saw him come back. I saw the footage of him coming back to Marwood. He's down. He's like wasted away. He's super thin, super fit, lean, like ready to really play.
Yeah, he's ripped.
Yeah, really ready to go. Trying to, it's very similar to that. Like you get into that older stage of your career and you can't play at the weight that you used to because your knees hurt. So he's down like probably below his sort of like come into the league weight at like 18. Um, but he is the heart and soul of that team. Even though your Liverpool fans are like, oh, could he just make a pass forward? Like he can be bad. There's no doubt that there are games where he's bad, and he is at least a half a step behind. But to lose him, I think you lose a connection to Gerard in a way. There's a disconnect to like the heart of traditional Liverpool. It becomes the end. It becomes a we don't even have an English guy on the team anymore aside from Trent. We kind of we kind of lose a connection to that previous era that I think Henderson represents. He's been there for 10 years. He's the captain of
Yeah,
the club. He played next to Gerard, right? There's not many guys that even played with Gerard on the team anymore. And he's that connection and does carry that institutional knowledge of the team. Now, do I think he needs to move on? Probably not part of the next championship winning Liverpool team and probably shouldn't have played as much as he did last year. I think he almost played 40 games last year. 32-year-old, 40 games. He's part of the problem in a way that Liverpool did not recharge a team. I think they would have loved for Keita or Oxlade Chamberlain to have replaced one of these guys. But you've got Milner going out. You've got let's play it out. If you have Milner go out, if you have Henderson go out, and then you have let's say Fabinho go out, they
yeah.
have
Fabinho is
Nandinho.
actually
Yeah,
sounding
also
also.
rumored. This is you lose continuity, and I think one of the things is you don't want to change over your team in one window, right? Two players here, one player there, maybe four in, two start, two sort of work their way in. What is that going to look like for Liverpool? I don't begrudge Henderson, right? He's going to quadruple his salary, if you can imagine. He's going to be on
Man,
700 grand a week,
that's a lot.
seven hundred
That's a
thousand
lot.
pounds a week in
That's a
Saudi
lot to say
Arabia.
no, man.
That's a lot of money. But I would still be wary of that league. How does he want to feel? He was an ally to the again. How much does that LGBTQ allyship stuff matter to him? I don't know. I did sort of post in our other chat. I was just like, they're coming for you. Don't all those people who go to Saudi Arabia, people will come after you for whatever the rights issues are, and they'll turn on you. And that's just Liverpool. That's how they are. They're
Yep,
holier
they
than
were
thou.
definitely upset.
No, just the LBGT, like the gay cop group, whatever that is.
All
No, it
right.
literally has a name. I don't know what it's called.
Hojlund bid rejected. I see here on the Sun, Atlanta have rejected 86 million from Manchester United. Man, how much else do they want from him?
For
86
who? What's the move?
for Rasmus Hojlund.
Oh, I saw
Hojlund,
that.
yeah.
I would not. I would not do that.
86 Manchester United put 86 million for
I
him.
would not. I
That's
would not touch that guy for
crazy.
that money.
And it was rejected. So
I would
it's a
not go
sign
anywhere
maybe.
near it. I think that
Uh,
people, when they see Manchester United, they see a team that's weak. They see a team that does its transfers in the press. They see a team that leaks. They see a team that, if they put a name out, they feel like they have to finish it because they don't have three names down. And so Atalanta's going like, if we can move this guy for $100 million, that'll make our season. You know what I mean? Because we'll go.
yeah.
We're organized. We'll go 10 players deep, find the next five strikers. We're good because we're organized. We've been ready for this. Whereas United are a mess, and they don't have a plan,
Um
or it doesn't feel like they have a plan.
And okay, so we got that. Kane's still dealing with his drama. We won't touch that because we already talked about it a
Well, I
lot.
mean, well, that's gonna be the one that drags out. So again,
Yeah.
until Kane says I want to go and I will not play until, um, he's busy doing hot ones ads. He did the spicy chicken wing thing. He's got this eye on the future, like he's gonna be a personality. He has no personality. I don't know what he's thinking. Like, you're not gonna be a field goal kicker for the New England Patriots. Take it easy.
All right. Well, we're waiting on that.
Uh,
Lukaku reportedly wants to stay at Milan now, Inter Milan. So I mean, I don't know what he's doing. Or I mean,
I just think
really he signed for United too. Yesterday, I saw something about Manchester United. Also, Manchester United. I can't remember who it was. I forgot, but somebody else signed it for. Oh, what about 10 million for Pogba?
who
It's
signed him?
cheap.
Who signed him?
No, nobody yet. But I mean, he's costing Juventus wants only 10 million for him. Do you? I mean, I think he could help. Legitimately, could help a team. I
Paul
mean, of course,
Pogba.
he's been
Paul
hurt, and
Pogba has not been good for years.
man, but at this market, if it's only for that amount of money, wouldn't you take a risk? I mean, you had to fix something.
What
You had
team?
to lower his salary.
What team?
Man, Newcastle.
Why would Newcastle do that? They already
Hey,
have a
you
good
bring
midfielder
experience,
that actually works hard.
but yeah, but see, people really get on to Pogba for not working hard or being not a good locker room guy. That Manchester United that came from Manchester United that season.
Yeah, I
He was
understand.
tired of the team like anybody would. Ronaldo was tired of that damn team. They sucked,
Yeah.
and the locker room was a mess. Man, you had I can't even say his last name, and I liked him too. I played with him when I was really young in FIFA 8. The coach at the time, Solskjaer.
Rangnick.
No,
So,
no,
Ole Gunnar
it
Solskjaer.
yeah, yeah, him.
I love Solskjaer. He was so bad that every week on the
But
podcast, me
he's
and
the
Mike
worst.
would blast him. He
He's the
stank.
worst coach in history, and he. I mean,
It was all
who
hives.
if you had a coach like that, if you had a manager like
Yeah.
that don't know what the hell he's doing. I
Yeah, he
mean,
just
you
didn't
won a
coach.
world and you
Yeah,
won a
and you won the
World
World
Cup.
Cup.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, but
Either
here's the
get this
thing with
dude out
Pogba.
or I'm leaving.
Pogba was only good and only won things when he had Vidal behind him to clean up for his messes and Conte behind him to clean up for his messes. Whenever you played him and he would fuss
Well, but
around on the
but
ball and lose the ball and give up a goal because he thought he could do a flick and a trick deep in the midfield, he just would be the wrong time doing the wrong thing. all those
I
great
don't
breaking
see.
passes, all that stuff that looked great. It was the showboaty, stupid stuff when he would lose the ball in the midfield with no one behind him, that you would give up goals and it would be incredible. You'd be like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Well, I'm not for sure that that's a problem because you usually teams right now play 4-3-3.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
but
always need to have a Casemiro. He didn't play with Casemiro. How do you know he's not
no,
going to
of
be
course.
able to?
If
He
he
has a
played with
Casemiro,
Casemiro, it'd be totally different for sure.
but that's why you got to have a team that has a central
Yes,
midfielder,
I
a
know. He was
defender.
playing. He was playing with McTominay. That
So
was not good.
so if that's not his, that's not him.
Yeah, he was.
So it's
He
just
was
like
set up to
saying
fail.
it's like telling Ronaldo to defend or Messi. I'm not saying he's on that level, but they're players or Mbappe or I mean
But
they're just not.
the thing is,
That's not
he's a midfielder and he's 6'3" and he can't
well.
defend. And so when
How
you look at,
good?
I think the issue is like it's really basic. You look at him and you want him to be a deep
Yeah,
lying
but
playmaker, and
that
that's the
can't
problem. When really he's a 10, he's just a giant 10.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, but
The
you know,
perception is the reality. Like you want him to play deep and be the holding midfielder
he
while
was
they
never
make the
that he
tackles.
was never
I
that
know
player.
that's the problem. People would play him there.
So it's not him. It's
I
the
know.
coach, the team. So they man they had to make some changes. The way they played him and the way it was just stupid and
By the way, I was
ridiculous.
wrong. He has played quite a bit. It's just last year he got hurt. He was sort
Yeah,
of playing,
he got hurt.
15,
But
15.
I think I think that's the
Look at the finishes. Like with United, he was there for 6 years. They finished sixth 3 times with Pogba in the midfield. That's awful. How does that
I
happen?
think I think that he could
They
help a team
finished
and
sixth
actually
three
A- A-
times.
Aston Villa was
Oh, Unai
interested.
Emery would just be like, "I had enough of you. There's no way.
No, but that's the problem,
Zero.
man.
No
That no
way."
is you
Unai Emery would
cannot.
be like, "Vete
There's not.
pa'l Get out of
There's
here."
there's not one single team in history that has had 11 defenders. Never.
No, of course not.
So
Of course not.
especially
Of
now. So
course not.
you can't try to change the player. That's who he is, and that's what got him to be an actually World Cup winner. And
You
I
know
know
where he would
people,
be good?
and
I'm not
now
even being funny.
we're holding on to that, but
In Fulham. I know that's a weird small
oh
club,
my
but
god,
playing with Paulinho, with
nah, man, they're gonna
Mitrovic,
get out of here.
forget it.
No, I think
Forget it.
actually, I actually think he would be good in Manchester United.
Still? No way. He's done. No chance.
Put a Casemiro right there, man. Casemiro is not gonna let anything.
Yeah, but
He's gonna have his back. He's gonna take
if
care.
you play him, you don't play Ericsson, you don't play Fernandez, you don't play Mason Mount. Like, who is he replacing?
Actually, I thought about this earlier, and I should have. But I actually think he could play at Chelsea. But you gotta have a defender behind him. So
Well,
that's the problem.
well,
But what's his name?
they get if they get Calcedo, then sure, but they still have too many players. They don't need a
Yeah,
luxury player. He's old. He's hurt. He's done.
he's not old. He's
Yeah,
not old,
Pogba is going to
man.
be 30 this year.
That's not old. That's not old. But players are playing until they're 37, man. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
not saying that.
Not injury prone. He hasn't played 2,000 minutes in since he was 25. So his
Okay.
production has gone down. He has basically his last really good world class season was 18-19. Oh, and United finished sixth
All
under
right.
when Mourinho
Well, we'll
helped out.
see where he goes. We'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not a
I have
fan.
faith in Paul.
I'm not a fan of these showboat guys, right? Like I don't like
I
Neymar,
am. I
I don't
am.
like
You know,
Pogba.
like, but you shouldn't have like Messi or Ronaldo because they do the same thing.
Yeah, but
Uh,
Messi delivered. He won the he scored 50 goals. And I understand. Late turn
what happened?
Messi, yeah, I understand. He did
What
well.
happened with Ronaldo the past 5 years?
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
basically made teams
after
worse.
well, I mean, again, I think that you have to know how to utilize these players, and
Yeah, you have
uh,
but that
when
teams
he
don't want
went
to
to
do that.
Manchester United, they didn't know
Clubs
how to
don't want
play
to
him.
do that. Clubs don't want to do
Well,
that. They don't want
that
to
that
put the whole team through one guy anymore. No, that's
that's
not how you
fine.
win. You lose that
They
way.
don't have to, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. You got to have somebody that can actually create and not be just one of the guys, man. You need to have that crazy guy that's just grabbing the
No, I mean,
ball
you
and
need yeah,
you got to,
as
you got
as
to,
possible, but you need them to buy in, right? They've got to
yeah.
listen. They've got to be coachable. If they're not coachable, then what's the
Oh,
point,
that's
right?
any player should be able to. You should be able to tell them. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard really fully or found a story where Pogba was like a trouble guy. I mean, you hear all the guys that play with him say that he was an amazing guy. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
and
Now,
let's to be
go
one
ahead.
last piece. One thing that happens a lot, and this is not to be some like crazy race baiting thing. The European press, just look through it. They always are harder on black players. Always. They're always like, oh, he's a bad guy. You never hear like, oh, a European player is a bad guy. It's always African players. Always.
Well,
It's really weird, and if you just have to pay attention to it. Like I think Raheem Sterling did a really good job of it once when he just like put the newspapers up of like the coverage of Phil Foden versus the coverage of him. He was like, "What is going on? This is weird. Why is it bad that I bought my mom a house?" And you're like, "Flashy Sterling buys his mother a flash house. What's he doing?" And he's like, "We're
that's
just working
stupid.
hard." What do right?
That's
So
stupid.
we always have to remember that. I
Which,
was just I
by
said
the
it out
way,
loud to remind myself to not be that way.
he has to deliver to at Chelsea because I don't think I've seen him with the blue jersey yet,
He
and
was nasty.
so
But you know what?
um,
Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead.
Let's move on.
Uh, Nottingham Forest is confident that they're going to sign William from Brazil. You know, he's playing in Brazil. He went back. I like William. I don't think he got a fair chance at the end of his Chelsea run.
No, 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 no. He
But
was awesome at Fulham last year. Fantastic.
no, no. Yeah, yeah.
Willian,
Okay, okay.
yeah, Willian
Yeah,
was at Fulham last year.
yeah. That's
He
right.
was
That's
going to
right.
leave
That's right.
Fulham. Yeah, he was so good.
Yeah, Fulham.
Like
He was in Brazil, right?
right, right, and then he came back.
Yeah, and then
Correct.
he came back. Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
well,
he was so
Nottingham
so good
Forest
at Fulham. Kicked ass.
might get him. Christian Pulisic arrives at Milan. You know, he was
Mm.
presented today, talked, and he was great, actually. I think it's a great move. I mean, not very many players can say they played at Chelsea, then went to AC Milan. Those are two historic, and he's going to Champions League royalty right there.
Well,
And it's a
the
good
nice
move.
thing is he's not on his own, right? He's got his former teammate. I think Loftus Cheek is there. I think Tamori, he may have played with him as well. So there's a couple of at least English speakers who he played with at Chelsea a little bit.
Yeah,
So that'll be a nice transition. AC Milan a little bit of a down year last year, but they did do well in the Champions League. They got to the
yeah. Went to Champions
quarterfinal
League, man.
before
That's
losing with the semifinal,
no
and
the
they lost to
semifinal.
right. They lost to Inter in that really shit
Yeah,
semifinal where I was
yeah.
like, "What
They
is
play,
going on? How am I going to lose to these two crappy Italian teams?"
yeah.
But I mean,
Um,
Inter was great. I'm not shit on Inter. Inter were really good in the Champions League, and they really had a chance and could have beat. They really could have beaten City in the final. But AC Milan had a little bit of a down season, but they had won a title within the year before. So good stuff from them. I'm just looking up the standings. Where did they fit in? Lazio finished ahead of them. Okay, Milan finished fourth, so they're in the Champions League. 20-win season plus 21. He's going to help them score goals. They were lacking a goal scorer if Leao didn't really do anything, and they had a lot of old players. They were still kind of weirdly relying on Zlatan. He missed half the season. They never really had someone in the middle to really do anything. It was a lot of Brahim Diaz, who's like a sort of small little bug. I could see Pulisic taking his spot. Brahim Diaz, I'm pretty familiar with. Played at City, went to Real Madrid. Probably only played 5 or 6 games there, but has done well for AC Milan. But I think Pulisic will probably have to fight his way in, and if he just don't get hurt, he's just got to
yeah,
play.
that's the problem. He needs to prove that he can play in Europe. Really, I mean, I know he played in Dortmund, but every American plays in the Bundesliga, and especially at Dortmund. You know,
Yeah,
so
it's just a matter. It's just a matter of just put 10 games
to
together.
adapt.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
play,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
and they
yeah,
play enough
so
games. So it should be good.
it should be good Champions League too. So yeah, it's gonna be good for him. Messi arrived, and last but not least, Messi arrived in Miami. Man, this it's just crazy what's happening. He just got raided by fans coming out of a restaurant in Miami, and it's expected, but he's gonna have to deal with that. You know, he's really gonna have to deal with
Yeah,
that
I
here.
mean, ironically,
Anyway,
we're in a
really,
heat
I guess.
wave. we're in a heat wave in the U.S. here. I don't know where the fans sort of sit. I'm hoping there's some Euro people who listen to my show. I got a lot of English folks because I'm very English culturally, and I think you're more on the Real Madrid side. So we'll get a gamut of different kind of people mixing in. But if people don't know, the U.S. is very hot in the summer. Miami is hot all year round. This is going to be something for Busquets and Messi to really have to deal with. Like,
Jordi Alba.
they're not going to be able to have three guys who don't run. Someone is going to have to run on that team. They got to cover ground, right? The rest of the team is going to have to run. In fact, they may have to sacrifice one of their front time. Like, they may just have to be really young everywhere else and just be like, listen, you get to play with Busquets, you get to play with Messi, you get to play with Jordi Alba and train with them. They're not running back, so don't stand still. If we lose the ball, you got to move.
Well,
I don't care how hot you are.
That's kind of the thing, man. That
Yeah.
it just, I feel like they don't care about all of that, and that's unfortunate because
Inter Miami or Busquets.
No, the players. What I'm saying is that, I mean, they can. I don't know if they care really.
Who's
that
the they?
The players. I'm talking about the European players that are coming. They're coming really to retire, like Messi and Busquets and Jordi Alba.
Messi wouldn't be who he is unless he had some level of pride and fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's gonna still come to life in those moments to score goals, but he's not gonna track back. Like, he's not going to the halfway line ever. Oh, I lost you. Can't hear you. You're on mute, Chris.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead. Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that, I mean, except other leagues, super teams that get built so fast and they don't perform like PSG, like Miami Heat, we saw those examples. I do believe that Inter Miami could just sweep out the MLS. I do believe that. I mean, because I think it's easy. I mean, I think for European players to just get together here, and I think I just don't see a struggle for them this season. And only here can happen where you're last, and next year you probably be fighting for the title, the playoffs, and
I
So
think it would be. I don't think MLS wants Miami to not be in the playoffs. So Inter Miami are sitting in 15th. They need to make it to the 8th spot. That's 12 points behind. And then what do they play? Is it a 34 game season? Something along those lines. They need to start winning, and they need to start winning now. That's really where they are. They do have Joseph Martinez, who in his day scored had a 30-goal season for Atlanta back in the day when they won the title under Tata. So Tata Martino will be there, but they've got to start winning games. They do have 2 games in hand on the rest of the league. Most teams are on 22. Actually, they have 1 game in hand. So Inter Miami does have its work cut for it. But the nice thing about MLS is no team is that good. And so they just have
that's what I'm saying.
Start winning some games and just have to get to, they have to go on a pace of like 1.5 per game, which is not that much, right? Just to get out of the
and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's really not much struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure some teams will say, "Hey, listen, every coach in the MLS, I guarantee is going to be like, hey, these guys think they came here and they're going to relax. We're going to get at them." But throughout the whole season, I think it'll be hard. But anyways,
I think there's only 12 games to go. That's the thing. There's not that many games to go.
But I don't think they're gonna. Do you think they're gonna start now?
What do you mean, Messi?
Yeah, I mean,
they're gonna play
the
next 10 games. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, that's gonna be
just start next season.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Because
they didn't pay him $50 million not to play.
They need to start selling. Yeah, that is true. Because next season is like the MLS takes a 10-month break. 10-month break, I think.
The issue they have is that they had Phil Neville, who's Gary Neville's brother. He was not a good coach, and David Beckham got handed a team. He did not know how to operate a team. So this Inter Miami thing is actually probably one of the worst run franchises in the league. So you have a lot of amateurs making a lot of mistakes. It took them an extra 3 years to even get the team because they couldn't get their shit together. So while Messi has been worked on to get to this team through marketing and through location, really, right? It's the closest city you can work in that can get you to Argentina. That's not a 20-hour flight. It's a 14-hour flight. So he's in the cultural hub of Latin America in that city, right? You are basically the beacon that is in the Caribbean and sort of spreads out all across South America from that hub in Miami. But aside from location, everything about that franchise is a clown show. So that those guys are there, they're really almost like an expansion team. That there's not a player on that team that you can go, oh yeah, that guy's going to help. That guy's going to move the ball from transition from the back into the midfield and get the ball to Messi. So they do have, they're 3 or 4 players behind. So they need Busquets. They need Jordi Alba. They need those guys to hit the ground and be able to play if they're going to win. If it's just to just boost TV ratings, fine. But if they
And
want
they're
to make
going
the
to do
playoffs and actually compete, they've got to start doing things yesterday.
it. Yeah. All right. Well, that was it for this show of Soccer Talk with my man Laurent Cortines. And listen, you can listen to these episodes on demand on the website topfcradio.com, on YouTube as well, and on your favorite listening platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Yeah.
etc. We
I
are live.
also rebroadcast these on my feed on Squeaky
Yeah.
Bum Time, which my name's there. It's I'll probably go solo coming when the season starts after the games on Sunday, and then I'll sort of
Yeah.
phase out. But for now, we're sort of cross
We're over here.
broadcasting the games, and then I'll keep going that way.
Exactly. All right. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.